good morning to everybody. Thank you for being with us here today. My presentation will have the objective to do a kind of bridge between the previous two high-level speakers and the next presentation. And in particular, I will speak a little bit, but not too much in detail, about the legal requirements governing the activity of the BEREC Office, specifically in the area of procurement, which is of interest to you, in the area of budget, because if you win a contract afterwards, your expenditure will be checked according to our rules for budget expenditure. In the area of finance, because you may be required to provide some documents which are needed for our accounting system. And I would like to point out which are the main sources of information for BEREC Office procurement. And last but not least, to provide some practical advice to the prospective bidders. So here on this slide, you see a list of different legal acts which are relevant to our procurement. I will not go in detail in these legal acts, but I will say to whom they are relevant and in what cases you may need to consult them and to read them. So the first one is the so-called BEREC regulation. This is the establishment regulation of the BEREC office, but it is also establishing BEREC. And it lists the tasks both of BEREC and the BEREC office. And if you are a bidder who would be willing to apply for operational procurements, that means procurements in the activity of BEREC, in the day-to-day management of the telecommunication markets or any other services which are related to telecommunications, I strongly advise those bidders to read this regulation because it will give an idea of what are the responsibilities of BEREC, what are the tasks, what is the legal framework. This is frequently strongly related to procurements which are for BEREC. You may feel inspired also to read the so-called telecom code. This is the directive which was published together with the regulation. It is more extensive. Of course, this is highly specialized legal act, and it is relevant for companies which are active in the field of telecommunications. The BEREC Office, as being a European agency, applies for procurement the General Financial Regulation. So although we have a small BEREC Office financial regulation in the field of procurement, we directly apply the financial regulation which is applicable to the budget of the EU in general. Specifically, you may be willing to read Annex 1, which provides very good detailed guidance, both for us as having the obligation to comply with this regulation, but also for you if you apply for European procurement procedures. And have in mind that investing effort to read this annex is very beneficial for you because this is the key legal act which regulates procurement for all EU bodies. So you saw already in the presentation of the director how many European agencies there are in the family of EU agencies, but it is also the European Commission, the Parliament, the Council. So all European institutions, they comply in their procurement procedures with this Annex 1. So once you read it, to apply for procurement procedures of the BEREC office, you have a knowledge which you can use for procurement procedures of other bodies of the EU. I have just added here for your information that actually the rules in this general financial regulation, they incorporate in themselves the rules of public procurement and concessions which are applicable in the whole EU. So here you can see the two respective directives on the screen. This is just to give you an idea that actually the rules on EU procurement are not that much different from the national rules. So as soon as you are familiar with the specificities of national EU procurement rules, there might be some specificities for EU public procurement, but there is not much of difference. So the logic and the principles are widely the same. As I mentioned previously, the BEREC Office has its own financial regulation. It is mainly related to programming, planning, and discharge. The discharge is the approval of our expenditure. It is based on this Commission framework financial regulation, which is listed in Roman 3, which is applicable to all EU agencies, so those which you saw on one of the slides of the director. As soon as you get an understanding of the logic of this framework financial regulation, then you widely are familiar with the financial rules of all EU agencies. So if you intend to work on this segment, this is an act which you may be interested to read. And last but not least, and perhaps this is always good for a start, you can always consult the BEREC Office procurement plan, which is available on our website. Afterwards, I'll show you exactly where you can find it, which gives you an idea which are the procurement procedures which we intend to launch during the current year. So overall, all the rules which are listed in the acts which I mentioned on the previous slide stipulate that we must work in high transparency mode, and in a principle we apply these transparency rules as much as possible. Here on this slide you can see where you can find different sources of information on our website. Later on, I will cover some other additional sources of information. We have a dedicated website for procurement. There you can see the procurement plan, which I mentioned just a while ago. We frequently publish advertisements for future procurements. So currently, you can see here that I have marked a future procurement for office premises for the agency, which has been published recently and for which the deadline is 10th of December. So with such ex-ante advertisements, we invite prospective bidders to express their interest, and this is mainly used for negotiated procedures. So if you are interested in a subject for which we have announced ex-ante advertisement, please notify us because afterwards, based on the expression of interest, we will invite candidates to negotiated procedures. As a general rule, you can find all this information on the landing page of the BEREC Office website. We'll see later on how it looks. And we also advertise our procurements on the professional accounts in the social media of BEREC. Specifically, currently, this is LinkedIn and Twitter. For open tenders, we also publish everything in the official journal, the specialized edition for electronic procurement. We'll see later on about these publications. So here you can see a print screen on the landing page of the BEREC Office, where you can see firstly the advertisement for the current event. So under procurement, we publish everything which might be relevant for you. The second one which you see here is again the prospection for office premises. And the third one is actually the guidebook, which was mentioned by the director. So, and the colleagues will present it a little bit later on. This is the main presentation for today. But whatever news we have related to procurement, you can always see it on the landing page in the bottom right corner as it is shown here. If you'd like to get more information about the procurement procedures of the BEREC Office, you have to go on the public procurement section of the website, where you can already see some additional information. I have here marked specifically for you the ex-post publicity. So these are previous contracts. So if you're interested to see what your competitors have done, you can go and see what contracts we have signed with whom, for what amounts. This is always a very useful source of information for future procurements. Of course, you can find here information about the procurement procedures, about the thresholds, and the procurement plan. Here you can see a print screen from the specialized edition of Official Journal of the EU, which is dedicated to procurement. The BEREC Office publishes their all open tenders and the documents which can be downloaded there. If you subscribe for this, you get also notification if there are changes. Specifically for this procurement procedure, I have highlighted that the deadline for submission of tenders was extended. So if you are following this, you get notification. There is no need that you go and check there. But if you're not subscribed, so of course, and if you're interested in a specific procurement procedure, check for any updates. This is very useful source of information. So if there is any news, answers to questions to other bidders, you'll see them here in this Tenders Electronic Daily. We also republish the documents which are available on TED in our website, available also for download. If needed to be filled in by you in the regional format, so Word, Excel, whatever. So you can see here a recently published procurement procedure for ICT support services with the whole documentation which is available for download. What are the other sources of information for you? So the director already mentioned that the previous year we organized similar kind of seminar, but it was much more extensive with a lot of educational material. Here on this slide, you can see what presentations are available on our website. With links to these presentations. Specifically, I would like to direct your attention also to the fact that we have a very detailed presentation about the use of this e-tendering TID, which I just mentioned before, because this is also the platform which we use for submission of tenders, for open tenders. So you will have to use this platform. I understand that this platform is quite specific, so it's not the national platform to which you are used. But once you get used to this platform, this is the platform which is used by all bodies of the EU. So investing a little bit of effort to understand how it works will repay back, because you get access to a wide variety of procurement procedures which you can use for expanding of your businesses. And previous year we had very competent speakers from the European Commission, who are actually the owners of the system from DigiDigit, who also informed the audience what to do if they have technical difficulties, whom to approach, and how to use the platform. This presentation is still available. And the last presentation, which is really very useful, and I advise people who have no experience in the EU procurement to check it. This was a comparison of the Latvian and EU procurement, which was prepared by our colleague Dina. You'll see her latest speaker, and a colleague from the Latvian Procurement Monitoring Bureau, which actually demonstrated that the rules are widely the same, so there are minor differences, but it is not that frightening. So check these presentations if you intend to apply for EU procurement. All the presentations from previous year, and it will be widely the same for this year, were video recorded. They are still available on our website. So you can also listen to the previous speakers. They give really very useful guidance to all prospective bidders. It is also important to mention that these videos are accompanied by subtitles in Latvian. If you don't feel at your ease with this specialized terminology in English, you can also read the Latvian subtitles. So going to my last slide, what I would like to advise all prospective bidders is if you intend to apply for procurement procedure of BEREC Office or of any other institution, start the preparation of your tender as early as possible. Don't leave it for the last moment. So it may look very straightforward. It might be very simple, for example, procurement for chairs. But even if you are really very, very good producer, you have to develop the tender in such a way that you convince the evaluation committee that your tender is the best. And the evaluation committee will not go to test your chairs, but will read the documentation which you submit via your tender to the institution for which procurement you apply. So preparing high quality tender is very important. And to do so, you really have to read carefully the tender specification which we publish and to try to address each point in it. Also the award criteria. So it is very important that we, when we evaluate the tender, have enough information to give points for each award criteria. If it is not clear what you have to do, if there is ambiguity in the tender specification which we have published, or if you have discovered that there are inconsistencies, so we also human beings, we also make mistakes, so send questions. So it might be something which is not clear, or it might be a mistake, or whatever. So if you have inquiries, send questions, but always in writing. Because when we answer to these questions, we provide them to all prospective bidders. So if it is a negotiated procedure, they are sent by email to everybody. If it is open tender, they are published. Now, for example, for this ex-ante advertisement for the premises, which I mentioned a while ago, we will publish all answers to all questions. So for this reason, it is important for us that we get the questions in writing so that we can address them in the proper way, and we provide the information to everybody in order to ensure non-discriminatory treatment of everyone. Send your tender in time. Do not leave it for the last moment. So we are going more and more digital for different reasons, including during this COVID crisis times. We try to restrict the number of physical visitors. So do not leave it for the last moment. There might be technical difficulties. And if you are unsuccessful, which may happen because there are many tenderers and we frequently award the contract to very few companies, do not get discouraged of this. Read the letters which we send to you. It contains very useful analysis and information of your tender. This may help you that you improve your future tenders. So try to analyze the weak points, why you have not received the maximum points, and then this I am sure will help you for future. So this is it from my side. I thank you for your attention. I encourage you to send us questions now or in future. So your feedback is really very useful for us. It helps us that we improve our work and it facilitates your understanding of what we do. And I would like also to encourage you to take part in our polls. Thank you for your attention.
Iskra, shall we do a poll right now?
Yes, please. Thank you, Adis.
All right. Okay, it appeared actually right now. Audience, thank you very much for putting this on. So, as many of you who want to participate, we want to take the temperature on our participants regarding specifically the subject of today. So if you can go sort of on the right hand of your screen once again and click on the polls tab, a quick survey right now. So please, you will see results, ongoing results, if you participate in that. So that is how it happens. So I'm actually a bit puzzled right now because I don't intend myself to get in the business of procurement, but I cannot see the results unless I answer this. So let me think of which answer to choose. Well, if I was someone who wanted to participate, I might actually go with this answer here. Okay, let me see. Okay, good. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Are still the percentage is still a bit changing, so some of you are still participating on this. Thank you very much. So, do you believe that good knowledge of EU public procurement will increase your business opportunities? Yes, but preparation for a good tender might be challenging. Yes, I will invest time and effort. It will pay back. So they're not mutually exclusive answers, but nevertheless, this shows that those of you participating are open to taking up the challenge. Because as Iskra said, if I had to put a title, an informal title on Iskra's presentation, it was "It's not that frightening." Iskra, I love the way you framed it. I think it is can be the motto of all of our conversation today. It's not that frightening, right? Just get the additional knowledge and approach and understanding of the procedures, and once you do, then it might be a good, business, investment of your time and effort, right, Iskra? What do you make of this poll result here?
Yes, Adis, I believe that your conclusion was absolutely correct. Indeed, it may look frightening from first point of view because I already showed on one of the slides the list of documents that we expect from tenderers, but actually most of these documents are already templates which people have just to read and fill in by ticking different boxes. Of course, this requires some attention, so it makes big difference whether you tick the box for yes or for no, because this may lead to disqualification of the company. But actually, as soon as you get used to it, it becomes a kind of routine. And it is always really very important reading and understanding the tender at the early stage. And as I mentioned, if it is not clear, send questions to us. So our team is ready available to answer questions. Afterwards, colleagues will explain till what moment of time we accept questions. But the earlier you start, the better. because at a certain moment of time, even if you discover that there are something which requires further clarification, there might be no time for answering. But
Sure.
yes, read all documents. This is my advice to the bidders for the tender itself, for which we're interested. And what we have published on our website, I believe that this is already a very good start, especially this guidebook, which will be promoted by the colleagues now. It introduces further clarity with simple language for the economic operators.
And once again, it's, as you said, if some of the participants here have participated in national procurement procedures, I mean, this thing is not out of the world, not from another world. This is comparable, right? So just
Yes.
additional features that should be you need to inform yourself about, but nothing extraordinary. Okay, Iskra.
Yes.
Thank
Yes,
you very
indeed.
much. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
this presentation here. A couple of questions in the chat segment, but that's fine. Wherever it comes in. So there was a question about the presentations. Obviously, there was a lot of information already on Iskra's presentation as well, and there'll be additional information, quite detailed information on the presentations that are going to follow. So no need to write it down, Shirley. Everything is going to be available online. By the way, Aurelien might inform us of whether the questions and answers tab is also archived in the same way. So I'm not quite sure about that. I'm quite sure it can be preserved as well as a separate thing. But everything is going to, as a recording, as a presentation, you can download it, as Aurelien here explains in the chat room. You can download the presentation yourself once it is on, but it is going to be available anyway on online, either in the Livestorm application, as we're being explained here, for 2 weeks on the Livestorm platform, but also on BEREC Office website. Everything's going to be there. So
yes. Yes. Just one last comment from my side before we switch to the next presentation. There is a question in the question section about the use of economy&business by the BEREC Office for advertising of our procurements. I see that Liga kindly already answered in writing. I would like also from our side to inform the prospective bidders that we also use this platform for additional advertisement when we have procurement procedures which are really targeting only the Latvian market. Recent case, this procurement, which I mentioned several times for our future offices, it is also advertised on economy&business because it's clear that the offices which we will rent will be in Riga. So this is clearly a procurement which targets the local market. For other services, there is possibility for digital provision of the services, but premises, cleaning services, water, gas, electricity, so such things, it's clear that we can purchase only on the local market. So this is one procurement which we have decided to advertise also on economy&business, and the advertisement there will stay till the deadline for submission of proposals, which is 10th of December.
that's great. So thank you very much.